Hello, I'm Alfred Zanini. I'm a heartbroken French film school student. So that's an introduction. Wow. And I've been in the film industry for the last year or so as an apprentice in a film rental company. So I'm gonna be detailing basically how that work has been going in my vlog. I've been trying several times. I think I'm gonna split this into 5 parts for the very start, at the very least, and let's see how it goes. So my story, more or less, is that I started out after high school, going to Troisiès, which is this French film school. Not fitting in really well at the start of the first year. I mean, it was rough because you were surrounded by all these people. I didn't live in France my whole time. I've been kind of moving around all the time. So it's kind of trying to fit in with the French atmosphere. And in addition to that, learning a whole new set of skills, being surrounded by people who are 100 times more competent and more diligent than you in the way that they work. So it was a really real learning experience and something that helped me kind of get out of my shell because first year I was kind of really in my shell. We did a bunch of projects, which was really interesting. I'm going to talk about them at a later date. But we had 6 projects that we had to do and two main projects that we had to follow throughout the year. So short prep times and interesting projects. It was a very good experience. So first year was fun, and we had some theoretical classes as well, which was interesting. I mean, felt like I was back in high school talking about maths and the basics of math, which are kind of boring. And apart from that, I graduated first year and I had to make a choice. What do I want to do? So you have specializations in film, as you know probably. Not everyone does everything on sets. So you have direction, which is the person who has the artistic vision on set and who says, all right, well, I want to shoot this scene. This is important to me. And then just below that, you have the first assistant and the assistants in general who say, all right, well, how much time do we have to do this? What are you planning to do? What's the intention behind it? And that's where the assistants get kind of an artistic role. It's where you're able to direct, all right, this scene sounds all right, but is that really what you want to do? And that's also the role of the script supervisor on set, because they kind of see, all right, well, if they're changing the scene at the last minute, what's going on? Are they going to change the narration? How does this impact the rest of the film, more or less? So that's script supervising, and that's the assistant department, more or less. So that's mise en scène, as they say in France. I know it sounds pretentious in English. And after that, you have production, which is basically all of the setup behind the production. So the assistants and the production managers take care of, all right, where's the budget? Where are we shooting? Who do we hire? How long do we hire them for? How do we get the rights to the content that we're producing? So, for example, you have to have a scriptwriter who agrees to have his film, his script, well, for the film. So either you pay the scriptwriter to write the script for the film, or you get the director to write, and he's still considered two separate entities. He's the scriptwriter and the director. So that's production, more or less, and you have production assistants who end up being the grunts, basically, of the film world, which is where I like to be, because it's always fun to go up to the actors and help them out, and I'm someone who likes to help people out without sounding pretentious. I mean, that's what I like to do. I like to be helpful on set. And other than that, you have a load of other jobs. You have sound and camera, and basically all of the technical jobs of how do we get this image on camera in post. So it's a lot of departments, and I don't have the time to talk about it all here. But you have basically direction, organization, which is assistance in production, and les moyens techniques. How do you say? Problem of being bilingual. The ways that you have to put the film into action. So everything from stunts to camera to sound to special effects to everything. And that's why it's so interesting to work on film, because not one production is the same. You never work with the same people, except if you do, but you always have different challenges and different ideas and concepts that come up, and that's always, the most interesting part of film, honestly. So yeah, that was my first year, and I had to make that choice, and I had to choose. Well, do I want to go in production? Do I want to go into editing? Do I want to go? That's a lot of things. So I made my choice, and I decided to follow my friends, which was an excellent idea. And honestly, I did that to follow my friends partially, but it was a part that interested me the most, and it was a revelation once I did my internship in the summer. I did a month and a half internship at association where I did some commercial work and some work on a short film. I ended up being basically the producer and assistant manager and the first assistant and the PA and a lot of roles on set with only a week to prepare everything. So it was a very interesting learning experience because you're projected on set, and when I used to be really reliant on my colleagues to on how they worked and how they did things in preparations, I learned to do things on my own, and that was fascinating. I mean, it was great. So that was the first year, and then the second year was also a very good experience because we have this project in the end of the second year, which is called the series, which, I mean, it's called. We have to produce a series from start to finish where we shoot for a month back nonstop, more or less. And you have to take care of 8 directors for 4 films of 8 minutes each. So it's taking care of egos and people who are writing scripts for something. You have to make sure that they write it correctly and that they have the correct intentions in mind for the whole film. So it's a very interesting challenge. Unfortunately, I kind of disconnected from that because I went back to Hong Kong for my first internship from January to February, where I was in the newspaper. I worked on a few documentaries, and it was a fun time. But it kind of disconnected me even more than the rest of the class. So I kind of felt left out, which was not great. Because when I came back, everyone had been working together and talking because, I mean, they were in the same time zone and going for drinks where I was kind of left alone. So that was interesting. And then COVID hit, which was, I mean, hard, very hard to do. And I mean, you take 3 months and you wake up every morning and you think, all right, I've got to take care of the casting calls and taking care of something, and you beat yourself up the whole day, or you've got to take care of this, and you don't do anything, and it's a non-stop cycle. And to anyone who's suffering from that, from waking up in the morning thinking, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. Either you do it now, or you resign yourself and you say, all right, this wasn't important to me, or you don't procrastinate on stuff like that. It took 2 hours after a month and a half of me beating myself up and like depressing myself, thinking, all right, you're a piece of shit. You can't work like this. You can't work. You don't know how to concentrate. You don't know how to focus. You can't even keep up with calling your parents every week or so. And yeah, it's motivating yourself for something minor is very difficult. And if you're going through this, good luck. And I mean, I hope I've been able to motivate you. Take care of it. So that's the first part of the year. And then I found an apprenticeship. So that was a challenge as well, because I mean, finding an apprenticeship during COVID is complicated. People didn't want to hire. People didn't want to see me in person. So I had to send out loads and loads of emails and loads of requests and phoning in a lot of people to see, all right, well, maybe do you have an apprenticeship in production? Do you have something? And I found something in a rental company. So that's I was kind of taken aback. I was, all right, well, I'm not sure I want to do this. But in the end, I didn't find anything else. And I thought, what the hell? It's going to be a good experience either way. I'm going to learn a lot. So I came in. I had my doubts for the first 2 months, which was compounded by a lot of doubts that I had other places in my life. And I was like, all right, I'm taking care of returns and checking the gear and everything, and I'm not sure this is what I want to do. And then I got a work computer where I was able to access the file storage network and planning more or less to see, well, all right, these are the projects that are coming up. These are the equipment lists that they gave us, and how do we take care of this? My boss started giving me tasks like finding a mole beam in the middle of France where there's nothing. So it was then that I started really thinking, all right, this is starting to get good. And in December, I had a whole week to myself because my boss wasn't here. I'm in a pretty small structure. It's called Next Shut, where we're two people in the planning department and we're two people in the shop taking care of the returns. So at the start I was in the shop, and now I'm fully in the planning department because we have a lot of stuff to take care of. So that was the first part of my apprenticeship, and then I started learning more and more things about how lighting works because I've been in production most of my time and I've been on projects. I've not been doing much lighting work. So it was interesting learning about all of that, and I'm developing a sense. All right, well, when you take out an M90, maybe they're gonna ask for some scrims, or maybe they're gonna ask for a speed ring and with a softbox and stuff like that. So it's always interesting to see how you've progressed over the year. And I mean, I look back at the year and I get sad because a lot of things happened, but I also get happy because I think back on how incompetent I was in many domains at the start of the year, and how now I've grown tremendously, and I'm able to replace my boss for 2 weeks or 3 weeks if she's not here. And the department doesn't run perfectly, but it runs all right, and little by little I'll be able to do more and more things. So yeah, that's my story more or less. If you found it of any interest to you, it's yeah, hoping that this vlog becomes something that I can do probably once a week. Let's see if I've got things to talk about. I've always got things to talk about. Let's see if you people like my stories and like me rambling on about my love life or my work life or people who annoy me at work or stuff like that. Let's see. All right, well, this is Alfred signing out from my first vlog, and let's see what the future holds.